Yay!
Okay, all right, finally, all right, good.
Can you hear me?
So I think we've probably lost everybody that was on our live. So anyway, some of them might come back. Lindsay's back with us, so that's all good. Sheena's back with us now. Hi, Sheena. So sorry. All I can do, it's my fault, is completely apologise for that. So we're on now. We needed headphones. What idiots! We need headphones.
Idiots.
Yeah, you didn't help me out, did you? Hi, Sheena. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just introduce myself, and Libby, I want you to introduce yourself. Give a little bit of a backstory, how our paths have crossed, and hopefully we can give some people some knowledge bombs and see where they are in their life, and hopefully they'll go forward like I have. Okay, so those of you that don't know, Matt Hancocks. I own a online coaching company. I created a Body Fit Formula, which is an online coaching platform, and I help entrepreneurs and impact-driven high achievers take ownership of their body and business. Now, I haven't always done this. This is like a recent kind of leveling up process, I guess. And the reasons for that, I'm going to share with you tonight. So, Libby, do you want to just introduce yourself before I talk about my sob story and get everyone in tears?
Yes, Libby Steggles-Jane, creator of the Emoji Coach, working with children and parents, adults, connecting to their emotions.
Yeah, cool. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm just going to briefly talk about my backstory and then how we met. Is that all right? And
yeah.
Shed some light on how we've worked together and stuff like that, because you're an emotional coach or emoji coach mainly for started off with children. It
started off with adults and then branched into working with children and working with the parents and teachers, and
okay, so, cool. So I'm not a child, but I have children.
So you're a parent.
We did that. That's right. I am a parent, and that's kind of we did meet via that. But what it was basically, she's talking about me there. Basically, so I'm gonna basically cut it quite short. I don't want to babble on too much about it, but my history is that I set up a personal training company, just on the outskirts of Harrogate. It was actually, and it was a personal training company, and over 3 years, we built up a personal training facility that was more about transformation programs. So 8-week transformation programs, kind of like a holistic approach, if you like, in terms of fitness and nutrition. Yeah. And sorry, that's my phone going. And basically, over the course, we had that facility for 5 years. So after 3 years, we built up the client base, and we took on some other trainers. So there was 3 trainers there that took on clients that would come through the facility. After sort of 5-6 years of working out of that facility, I wanted to introduce like a group training concept. Yeah, so group training concept that would kind of bridge the gap between personal training and classes. So your traditional classes in gyms, 20, 30 people would turn up, do the class, go home. The personal training, much more coaching around kind of, maybe a progressive program or more specific programming. And I wanted to bring something in between. So I wanted the kind of social camaraderie of a group, but with the skills of personal training. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it was like a group training concept. Now, in order to do that, I needed to take my business into Harrogate City Centre because I needed more people. The classes were kind of 8 to 10 people, so we needed more people. And went into Harrogate. Once we found the place, which was ideal, all right, but it needed a hell of a lot of work in terms of I needed to invest a lot of money. But my gut feeling was that it was the right place. And so this place was twice the size of the facility I already had. So therefore, my overheads were actually more than twice what I was paying. We'd just done a massive marketing campaign to pre-launch the facility. Everything was going really well. And then I found a flyer. So I found a flyer, which was basically promoting personal training facility. And I recognized one of the mobile numbers on it. And I had this sort of gut-wrenching feeling. I kind of thought that's one of my trainers, yeah? So there was 2 numbers on there. I looked, it was 2 of my trainers. So 2 of the 4 trainers that had basically, I'd built their business up for them over the last 5 years and gave them loads of clients because I was then going to run this group training concept, had spoken to my landlord, my previous landlord from the facility just outside Harrogate, and decided that with the landlord, they were going to open up a gym, which was basically right next door to my old facility. So just continue what I'd done in my old place. So told all my clients, you don't have to go into Harrogate Town Centre if that's going to be an issue for you. We'll just carry on like we are. Now, they did this obviously behind my back. I knew nothing about it until I saw this flyer. And so they basically had taken 95% of my business off me before I opened up this new facility. So, yeah, I was in the shit, really, because all my money was invested in this place. I'd just built a business up for 6 years and it had been taken away. It's like someone just sweeping a carpet from underneath your feet. So what happened then was I had 5 years to, because I basically signed a lease for 5 years. I had 5 years then on the lease, and I was like, "Shit, I got to start again. I've got to try and pay for all these clients, get it going again. And Libby, we get an echo. Have you just changed something?
Yeah, my thing's gone. It's okay. Hang on. Okay.
That's better. I can't have that again. Yeah, that's fine. So I had to start again. So, what basically happened was 16-hour days, 6 days a week. We'd just had our first child at this point, Maya. So it's in the second. I didn't see her. So, let's say 3 years into this business, I saw my kids and my wife on a Sunday, if I was lucky. I was there kind of physically. I was physically present, but mentally, emotionally, just not there at all. Now, it's interesting because what actually happened, I run myself down so much that my body packed in and I actually slipped a disc. And although it was an excruciating pain from the moment I got up to the moment I went to bed. So the only time I got any sort of pain-free moment was when I was asleep. Yeah, and it's interesting because talking about it now, I kind of feel all the emotions of being a failure in terms of a husband, a parent, because I just wasn't there for them. The fact that I was in so much pain, I couldn't play with my kids, couldn't even pick them up for a hug. But at the time, and I want to bring you in now, Libby, to this bit, because at the time, I didn't have those emotions. It's almost as if, like now I'm talking about it, I can feel them like raw as anything, like felt like such a failure. But at the time, I didn't. It's as if like I just suppressed those emotions down, because I wanted to kind of portray this to all my clients. I'm a businessman, and I'm keeping you going with your stuff and stay strong for them. And I didn't want to show anything. Is that common? Is that normal? And is that common for,
it is.
For guys or?
Yeah,
you can tell us about this now.
The guys, there's this stigma, isn't there, that big boys don't cry, and you've got to get on with it. You've got to provide for the family, and it's out there that men don't talk about their feelings as much because, you know, there could be a wuss or they need to toughen up. And so, yeah, I think that men find it a lot harder to talk about what it is that's going on for them. And also, when things like that happen, you go into a real stress phase. You go into this fight or flight stress, and you get on with it. And quite often you feel numb until it's over, until you feel better about it. And that's then when everything can start to come up and come out, which is why it's important to connect to the emotions and feel what it is that's going on in the body. We don't like to, as society, we don't like to feel our emotions because we think they're painful, and yeah, they can be. And if you think about, you know, parenting, and if your child falls over, so many parents will go, oh, have a biscuit, make yourself feel better, you know, because they don't want the child to feel that pain. But it's really important for us to feel these emotions. It's really important for us to connect in, so they don't all stack up and then they don't all come up build up like a volcano and explode.
Yeah, because, I mean, you know, at this point we'd not met, because at this point I didn't know what I was feeling.
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? So what happened, that was, I suppose, the thing that is bad, what's happened in terms of, but I never felt like a victim because, you know, I made the decision to move. I made the decision to take those people on. So I never felt like a victim. It was just like, just carry on and get it done and do what I had to do. So, but after I did my back, 2.5 years later, I finally got surgery. And so it was at that point, I think, you know, when I was in recovery, and I just thought, I can't go back to it. Like, I knew I had to sell. I knew I had to sell my business. So, you know, you go through all that struggle. It's 11 years later. And all that pain, all that struggle, and you're like, I've got to sell it. And it's really hard because that's like your baby, you know? It's like, and you're almost admitting to yourself again, you're a fucking failure because you've got to sell your business now because you can't keep it going. And sometimes I will swear on this live because I'm quite passionate. So if you don't like swearing, yeah, I can apologise now, but it will happen.
I won't swear.
I probably will. I probably will again.
All right.
So, but what happened then is I sold my business, and I sold a business to these guys on the premise that I would actually then work for them. So the idea was that they would come in and take my business where I couldn't. So they'd bring the finances, and then together we'd roll out a business. So I was kind of like, this is fantastic. You know, this is what I've been after, you know, because someone can come in the finances, take all that pressure off my shoulders, and I can still roll out what I've been trying to roll out with help of other people. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen like that. It was kind of like pulling the wool over my eyes a little bit, because as soon as they got their hands on the lease, they kind of just pushed me to one side. It's kind of like, you know, we're here now, you know, and they wanted me out. So we did not see eye to eye at all in terms of what I wanted to do as a fitness business and help coach people to better their lives. And that was kind of my first and foremost. I didn't think too much about money. I was quite naive like that in terms of my business mind. And they were the other side. So they came in from, they're bankers, came in from more of a financial business perspective and didn't really care so much about, you know, transformation or mindset or nutrition or anything. They just wanted to host classes. So I was like, we were just like this all the time. And it was never going to work. I was going to hand in my resignation after about 4 months, I think. But I tried to hang on because, as you know, this is kind of my personality. I kind of just keep going. And in the end, though, they said, "No, see you later." And what they tried to do is get rid of me and say that I was in breach of contract, so they refused to pay me. So, and just made up all this bullshit, basically. So it was not a very good end, and it took me about a year to get my money, and then this is where I went on a massive downward spiral. So this is where then I'd sold my business, and it was as if so the emotions that I kind of had before are now compounding, and my relationship with Rach, my wife, completely broke down. Like we were just at each other's throats, hated each other, and it was at a point we went away to France, and Rachel, I think, pretty much said, you got to go and see somebody, or you can piss off, basically. And the thought of losing my wife and not having my kids, man, that was it. I mean, it was lit. That was it. It was the end. So that was when I phoned you.
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
Yeah.
And I remember phoning you. I remember the phone call. I remember phoning you up, and I said, "Hi, Libby. I'm Matt. I think you've been expecting this call," like as if you were kind of, I don't know, almost foreseeing that I was going to come into your life and ask for help. And then I cried like a baby, I think, on the phone. We didn't even talk, did we? I just cried. And
yeah, I remember. Yes, you were going on holiday. You were about to go on holiday, I think.
Yeah, we just got back from France. Right. We just got back from holiday, and I just said, "I think I need your help." And I said those words, "I need your help," and then I just exploded. And now I don't cry at all, or I didn't. So we're talking. I didn't cry at the birth of my children. Didn't cry at my wedding. Didn't cry when I was in the room when my nan passed away. And then I'm there crying. And this is why you came into my life, because you helped me with all those emotions and all those suppressing of my feelings and everything, and you helped peel the onion. And that's why I want you to just explain how you helped me with all that and what peeling the onion's all about.
So the way I talk about the onion is, it's very much about peeling layers until you get to the core, the root cause. And as we go through life, we have lots of shocks, lots of traumas. And if we don't deal with them, if we just ignore them, try and push the pain and the emotions down, like I said, it comes to you at some point. And we find that we get triggered more and more in life, and quite often it's not what's happening right there in front of us, it's just triggering up past events. So when clients come to see me, I say it's going to be a bumpy ride, and it's a journey, and it's going to be like you're peeling an onion. You're peeling a layer, another layer is going to come up to the surface. You peel that one, another layer comes up to the surface until you get to the core, and until you then feel on an even keel and have the tools then to manage your emotions with anything that comes up. Because I do the job that I do, but I'm human and life is the way it is, and I can get triggered, but it's having the tools and not being frightened of your emotions so they don't get stuck.
Yeah, so you're not a therapist, right? You wouldn't class you as a therapist, because I remember Rachel had seen you, and she obviously said, you need to go and see Libby. It took me about 6 months before I finally picked up the phone. But I remember saying to her, Rachel, I remember saying, I don't want to go and sit on the therapist's couch talking about my history, all right? I've dealt with that. Now, I hadn't dealt with it, but in my head, I dealt with it because I'm a man. And I dealt with it, and I pushed it away, and I'd forgotten about it. So I was like, don't want to talk about my history, my childhood, or anything like that. I just want to sort this out. And I was adamant, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Now, we didn't really talk about my past and things like that, did we? You did things a little bit differently. Do you want to explain how you do things?
Yeah, I don't have a couch. I have a lovely chair in my little room, and the tools that I use are very much connecting you back into those emotions. So if people want to talk about the past, absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. But the way I work, the tools that I use is I help you to clear the shocks and the trauma from your past. So we'll go back. But the easiest way is to just get your hand on your body where you're feeling the emotion and connect into it and get the information. It's amazing. As soon as you just connect into that emotion, the information that comes up for you. If I ask what age, a number will pop into your head. And we'll go and we'll just clear it. Just by placing your hand on that part of your body and just listening to it, it just starts to go. But the more we ignore, the stronger it comes. It's like a child. If a child is trying to get your attention and you ignore the child, turn your back and carry on what they're doing, I can guarantee they will do something to get your attention. I've got a 4.5-month-old puppy who's doing that to me at the moment. But, as soon as you give the attention and listen, and listening is key, then they calm down. And it's the same with your emotions. If you just connect in and listen to your emotions and listen to what's going on, they go, and using different tools.
But this is quite a difficult thing though for a guy, especially. Now I'm a guy, so I can only speak from a guy's perspective, but this is a very difficult thing for a guy to take on, right? Because he doesn't even understand his emotions. So I came to you and I was like, I don't even know who I am. I'm like walking through a shopping centre and I want someone to start on me. Do you remember me saying that to you? I said, I want someone to start a fight. I'm walking around like someone start on me because I had all this emotional pain that I didn't know what to frigging do with, and I wanted some physical pain. Now, so if I come to you in that moment and you're saying, oh, just touch your feelings, I'm just going, what?
But so I didn't do that, did I?
No. That. So but people hearing this now will be like, what? So there's a kind of there's a clearing and there's a stage where you kind of I suppose you peel off some of that anger, don't you, in a way?
Yeah, and also I explain what's going on. So I help you to understand what is happening in your body and why you're feeling the way that you are, and that you want to go and punch somebody. So I think I helped you to understand, what was happening. It's releasing the anger in a safe environment. So that isn't you punching walls in my room or anything like that. It's just using tools and techniques to actually help you to release that anger calmly, and for you to become whole-brained again. Because, when we've got all that emotion, quite often we flip from one side of the brain to the other. We're either in the logical and like the chaotic ranting, or we're then in this flood of emotion that we don't know what to do with it. So it's giving you some tools and helping you to become whole-brained so you can feel calmer and release that anger in a calm, safe way. So you won't want to punch people.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much I wanted to punch people; I wanted to be punched.
Yeah,
there was a difference
to get that. Yeah,
definitely. So obviously, we worked together for quite a while, and I'm still on my journey now. I would say I'm just starting. But I've learnt so much in terms of my emotions, and what I've done is I've allowed space in my day for meditation. I have like a morning ritual now. So, I get up very early in the morning. I'm one of these people now, like, and this isn't something you told me to do, it's just something I do. It's like, if you snooze, you lose, right? Now that means if you are some of these person that's got your alarm clock and you're just pressing snooze and snooze and snooze and snooze, you've lost half your morning. So, I would rather just get up early and get on with my day, and I'd just jump out of bed and crack on, right? But I have this morning routine where I wake myself up by going for a walk.
Yeah.
So I get the blood flowing, and before I do that, I do a 10-minute meditation. So the first thing in the morning, I hydrate with some water. I get a black coffee on the brew. Yeah, black coffee, right? After I've hydrated. Hydrate before you caffeinate. So water first, then some black coffee. And then I do some 10-minute meditation and go for a walk, normally with dog in tow.
Yeah.
And when I'm walking, I have a podcast on, which is business related. So it's like my meditation's kind of opened my mind.
Yeah.
And got rid of all the clutter.
Yeah.
And then I podcast and feed it. And I feed it in the morning for what I'm going to do. And it's like I front load my day with productivity that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that you do yourself.
Well, I'm up very early at the moment, but not by choice. So when you talk about meditation, I mean, I teach meditation, and people go, ooh, meditation, especially men. it's not as complicated as what you think. And it's incredible how it can just help you to feel calmer and help your mind to just calm and declutter, like you say. And I think that there is this theory of getting up early and being more productive, but everybody is different. And so I'm a morning person, but not a 5 o'clock in the morning person. It is wrecking me at the moment. Some people are more productive in the afternoon. Some people are more different. So, but I think that having a routine and having some time for you, because this is the thing, life is so hectically busy. And my clients are always saying, I haven't got time for this, I haven't got time for that, at the beginning of the sessions with me, when they start with me, at the end they're not. And this is the thing that stress and chaos and lack of time all mounts up. It doesn't help what's going on inside of you. It's crucial to set some time aside. Crucial to have that time for yourself so you can get into your routine for what works with you. I highly recommend meditation. And if anybody out there is going, well, how do you meditate? I can't do that. Contact me and I'll help you, because it can be really simple.
Yeah, it can be very, very, very simple. Yeah. And, there's lots of, even just a guided meditation app that can kind of introduce you to it, that's free, that you can kind of get, used to it. And you've got some great... and so, but basically, and there's, again, it's kind of a guy thing. Like, when guys need to be able to reach out and talk to people, right?
Yeah.
Now, they don't do that. They don't speak out. They don't really have, so for instance, if I'm in a bad place, I can't really put my arm around, one of my mates and say, look, what's going on emotionally, and, I'm not being the husband that I should be. I'd just be like, get a grip, you wuss, have a beer and sort yourself out. And that's how guys deal with it. So you end up kind of speaking about your troubles and things like that, or problems with your partner or your wife, or, and sometimes you don't communicate it very well. Yeah. No. So because you're in a mindset that's kind of you just kind of blurt it out. Well, I do. I literally, if stuff was on my mind, I would just blurt it out at Rach, and it was as if and she'd get then reactive and defensive because she thought I was having a go at her and blaming her, and I was just sort of sitting it. It just didn't work at all. But obviously, being able to speak to you and reach out to you and talk to you about it, it meant that then my relationship with Rachel was more, it wasn't reactive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we were able to communicate and talk properly how we should do as husband and wife who love each other, and not fisticuffs all the time. So women, I think, and obviously I might get this wrong, but women, I would say, are more in tune with their emotions, and they have these social groups where it's okay to be emotional around and show your feelings around. Am I right, or shall I go now?
Yeah, I mean, no, there are a lot of women who aren't in tune. I mean, the majority of us, like I say, move away from our emotions because they are painful. So I hear what you're saying. It's like, a lot of women will pick up the phone to the friend and say, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. But there are a lot of women who don't feel they can do that as well.
Right.
So, but I know with men, it is, I think they feel they've got to be the one who's got to cope and provide for the family and, keep everything, hold everything together. But so the same with women. There's a lot of women there who hold the family together and feel they've got to be strong and who feel like they're drowning, especially mums, juggling it all together. So I think it's a mix, but it is this stigma around. And I think, like I said earlier, little boys are brought up where you've got to toughen up, you don't cry. I brought my son up the opposite of that. I brought my son up where I encouraged him to express himself. I got a lot of stick from people, a lot of judgment from doing that, but I didn't care. If my little boy wanted to cry, I allowed him to do that. And my husband as well, if he wants to cry, no problem. So, yes, I think it is big with men that they've got to keep that bravado up and keep, like do me Tarzan,
yeah,
100%, Jane and all that.
100%. Yeah. 100%. It's a mask, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we wear masks because
we
because of that stigma.
Yes.
And so, it's kind of sorry, go on.
I'm just warning you. I've got 10% left on my battery now.
That's okay. We won't be. We'll have to wrap it up soon anyway because we could talk all night about it.
We could, yeah.
But there is a stigma around it, and therefore we do wear masks because guys are trying to show that they've got everything in control and they are looking after the providing and all this kind of stuff, and they're successful. But there's strength in opening up, being vulnerable, showing your emotions. Right? There's strength in that, and myself, I've always been into sport. I've always been sporty and always been into fitness. Okay, but I've always trained, but after I sort of had been working on this, I was in a much better place. Okay, so my mindset and I say it is emotions, but my physical strength and my mindset, also my physical health and my mindset, mental health, had kind of forged a strong bond, if that makes sense. I felt so better connected that I did a 6-week challenge before Christmas, and I've never done anything like this before, really, in terms of I'm just going to go and see what I can do visually, because I hold so much stress in my life. I hold a lot. Well, I'm not say a lot, but if I hold fat, it's around my abdomen area, okay? Because it's a rising cortisol, so I hold fat there. So it's very difficult for me to get shredded, if you like, have a like 6-pack. It's really difficult. I have to go very thin because that's where I hold my fat, because I'm a stress ball. Or I was. Okay, so 6 weeks challenge before Christmas. Now I did all this and showed videos and pictures and everything, so you can find it because it's all on YouTube, and I wasn't lying. But it was the easiest 6 weeks in terms of body transformation ever, because everything was just in flow. Okay, so I dropped from I think it was 12.5% down to 6.5% in 6 weeks, and dropped 14 pounds of weight, and got quite relatively cut in a short period of time. But it wasn't even hard. This is the thing. It was really quite easy. Yeah. Obviously, I did the things I normally do in terms of I was training hard and I was eating right, but it wasn't hard to get that transformation because my mental health was in a different state. And so this was kind of like my friggin' aha moment, because it was like, look what I've just done for myself. That was my in terms of physical. So, I'm 43 years old, probably fitter now than I have been, than I can recall, actually, in terms of my fitness and health and where I feel and how much sleep I'm getting and how productive I'm being with work. But the thing that's really good right now, and something that you've really helped me with, is obviously visualizing my business and bringing people in that are going to help my business. Now, I'm a skeptic, right? And when you first talked about this, I was like, for God's sake, Libby, what are you talking about, right? Wasn't I?
Yeah, you were.
And I still do that now.
I know you
about
do.
Things.
I ignore
and you just laugh at me because you know that you're right.
Yeah.
You know you're right. and you are right. And things are happening now that you know about that are, it's like I'm making them happen. I can't describe it any better than that. But this is why I want to work with people that were in my position. So entrepreneurs and high impact achievers that are they're putting their business first, their relationships are suffering, and their health is suffering because of it. And so I want to help by the tools that I have from my experiences to help them push forward. Yeah, and obviously now there's some tools and some coaching that I can't do, and that's where you come in to help them. But these things are happening now, and it's helping with business because I've sorted out my mental health, my emotional state, and all that. And that's probably something it's not like you've not just heard that, have you? This is not the first time but this is someone's told you this. You must have worked with people before that say exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all got to flow in mind, but they say mind, body, and spirit, don't they? Everything's got to sync, and if one is out of alignment, then it's not going to be able to flow. So yeah.
But I've heard that, and I've heard people say it, and I'm like, whatever, mumbo jumbo, get my crystals, right?
Yeah.
But
and then you met me.
yeah, and I'm not here, dangling a crystal necklace around my neck, but I can appreciate the connection between, mental and physical health, and the connection between being in an emotional state and being positive, and channeling that energy to do good and move forward with purpose.
Yes,
and people can get that, but they need to work on these things. So, what do they need to do? What would you say, someone who is in the state that I was in? What's the first thing they need to do?
Reach out and acknowledge that they're in that state, rather than having to feel that they've got to keep on going. Reach out to somebody and ask for help, because it's for somebody to sit and listen to them and to understand how it is they're feeling. That's a major breakthrough in itself. I mean, when we had that first conversation and you got emotional, your emotions came out, I think it was probably because you felt there was somebody there who understood you, and you were reaching out, and it was more or less, wow, I've got somebody here who understands, and I can finally deal with this and acknowledge what's going on. So that's the first thing I'd say, is reach out, whether you're a man, woman, child, just go for it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it was because I was speaking to you, and I knew there was no judgment there, and I could just tell you what was going on. But I had to get to this space of where I really didn't recognize myself. Like, I was in a deep pit and didn't know how to get out of it. And it doesn't have to go that far.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't have to go that far. I mean, that's where the transformation comes from, doesn't it? A lot of people, they go down, they crumble, and they come back up a very different person. It doesn't have to go that far. And I think that, again, some people go, well, I've left it this long because I didn't know whether it was bad enough and whether I should, And so all this is going round. If you need somebody to talk to, if you feel you just want somebody to listen and to help you, reach out and find that help. Because, I mean, I've been there. In my teenage years, I had suffered with depression, and I've been through my own journey, which is why I can help people. And it's horrible, because you feel like you are in this dark pit and there's no way out, and you feel people are judging you and looking at you and thinking, oh, you're weak, and you're not weak. You're incredibly strong and brave to face this and connect in. And when people come and work with me, I'm with them every single step of the way. Even if they contact me between the sessions, I am there to help them every single step of the way.
100%, and that's why I work with you, and actually you've worked with me now on your fitness and your nutrition journey, and your business is thriving because of that too. But no, we share the way that we share a passion for helping people.
We do,
and inspiring people, and a lot of that comes from our own story, and it's why we're without blowing our own trumpets, but we're good at what we do because we have experienced it. And that's why it works so well. So well, I think we should wrap it up, Libby.
I know. And there's you saying, I'm going to cut you off, Libby, if you keep on going. And look at you, blah, blah, blah.
I know, I'm terrible. I am terrible. But I think hopefully the guys listening have got something from it. Now, they know, obviously, if they want any help with their fitness and weight loss and nutrition, anything like that, they know they can come to me. But if they have any other sort of concerns at the moment, if they want to reach out and speak to somebody, perhaps they're having trouble with their relationships, or their kids are driving them up the wall and they don't know what to do, how can they reach out to you? Is it from Facebook? Is that the best way? Or
they can come on and find me on Facebook, yes, or the emojicoach.com. They can go to my website, and contact details are there. But the Motor Coach is also on Facebook. Yeah, or they can contact me personally through this. Yeah.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll stick a couple of contact points for you and myself at the bottom of the video, and then if anyone wants to reach out, they can. All right. Yeah. So we got there in the end. Half an hour later, but hey, we got on there. So thank you very much for your time, Libby.
My battery's still here as well. My battery's still.
There you go. Right, I'm going to go and watch the Champions League semi-final. So I'm going to go.
Lovely.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.